Today's episode is presented by LodeStar, the fee experts.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Lending Leaders. My name is Alayna Gardner, AMP, and this week, as is tradition, I'm joined with our co-founders, Jim Paolino and David Spector, in our fabulous ugly sweaters. Jim's has a dragon on it. That feels important to
technically
know.
not a sweater, but it's still awesome.
It's still really cool. And
Thank you.
Dave has a cat.
I forgot that it was
I forgot that the cat was so terrified in this moment. That's spectacular. Awesome. Well, Dave just got a surprise delivery as we're recording here, so we love that. Yeah. No, you're fine. Awesome. Well, let's jump into this. So what was the most significant achievement that you feel happened for the company this year? And why does that stand out to you?
I mean, we talked about this when all the directors got together, and there were a lot of milestones that happened this year. We launched a new business successfully in SettleWise. We all got together for the first time ever and to celebrate our 10 years and retreat that you planned, Alayna. That was awesome.
Occasionally I do things.
Occasionally, all the time.
Occasionally.
And then for me, I think we've done a better job like defining what our culture is and like protecting it, and like it's, for me, like, it may not seem that significant, but having a good idea of like what people value about our culture, the flexibility, the transparency, the clarity, I think is really good, because it's a really good like LodeStar, if you will, for going forward. I had to do that. Yeah, I think it's been, I think knowing that and having that really well defined, it's been super. I think is a really good achievement.
Awesome. Dave.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, the party was great, right? 10 years was kind of crazy. We got there. Lots of people I talked to, like, can't believe that we made it. So that feels pretty awesome. I like some stuff we did more about kind of how like we manage people, kind of getting instead of like who they are and like how they want to be managed. I think it's a soft skill that's difficult to think about sometimes, but it can be helpful. And then I think the biggest one though is the vision. We kind of got a little bit closer towards the end of the year, and that the vision, the like 10-year plan. I think it was not on top of my list of important things, but I think formalizing it has now shown me that like we can say like, hey, this is what we want to do. This is what we don't. I mean, we talked about it. I think today we were talking about.
I know you were holding it over my head already, which was great. Of like, is this part of the plan, Jim?
Exactly. Yeah, I could have used it as a weapon, and it was perfect.
Awesome. And with that kind of in mind, I know you mentioned, the soft skills of leadership and how we manage people. What is the one thing as a leader that you learned this year that you really think you're going to carry forward with you?
I don't know if I definitely learned it this year, but maybe I've become a little bit more open to it this year. It's like different people operate in different ways. And I've seen that before. I think I've become a little bit more accepting of it, like without having to pass quickly judgment. I think it also has a little bit more to do with how many more people I'm kind of managing and seeing the growth over that timeline. It's like, oh, okay, like they got to this point and they've achieved things that I thought when I earlier was thinking about them, they couldn't have done because they couldn't have the same relationship with the skills or the knowledge that I did. And they just do it in different ways, and they're much better than me at certain other things, right? So that's kind of been like a nice kind of realization.
Say this year there was a lot more delegation by necessity for me.
Yeah.
Being on paternity leave, being back and being, not full time for a while. Even now going through the home sale and purchase that we've talked about on this podcast a couple of times. Now in the new house, you can see here.
Very fun.
So I think just getting more comfortable passing things off and delegating and realizing that it's your job, our job as owners, to have a structure and system in place opposed to doing a lot of it ourselves, right? Is ultimately what's more important. Like and work is, making decisions, getting people in the right place, setting vision, forecasting. Like it's different than kind of what it was when it was just the two of us.
Yeah, I think the people that have had the biggest growth in their roles are obviously you guys, going from doing the work yourselves every day to now shifting into that leadership more mindset.
Well, that better be the case or we're in trouble, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward, what are you most excited about for LodeStar in 2025?
I'd say I want to see SettleWise succeed in 2025.
Yeah.
I think we've been building a strong base for it, but we haven't seen kind of the next step, right? Like with any type of starting of a company, there's like that crazy beginning part where nothing is really happening, right? Like a lot of work's being done, but no growth of a company. You're still trying to figure out so many things.
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of getting to the point in the crazy part where nothing is happening is kind of getting done. And now we're going to that, okay, there's going to be some measurable growth now. And I'm excited for that too. What was that?
That's a really fun part, right? Like that. Most excited about, for me, just having more time to focus on LodeStar, to be honest. And like at all, like we have a much better vision of what's happening. I think the market, who the hell knows what's going to happen, but it's, I think, going to be to our advantage. So just really excited to continue on this path with everything that we have and the foundation that you've helped us build and everyone else. I think that's just going to be really fun. We're getting everyone together again in about 3 weeks. So,
and it gets to be a business meeting this time.
I know, my dream.
I think the running joke when we were at the retreat is like Jim is only slightly okay with the fact that this isn't a business meeting and it was just like straight team building.
Gatherings.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. And then as we kind of step into 2025, what's the one piece of advice that you would want to share, or inspiration that you want to share as we step into next year? You get this instead of the LodeStar question, since you've been asked that so many times.
So what was your highlight of the year?
Oh, so you're going to buy yourself time here?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm doing.
I think for me, the highlight of my year was, I think at MBA this year, it really clicked for me, and just seeing my team perform, right, is that realization of like, I could step back and they could do this. Right. And I think that was a huge moment for me. And it really built this confidence coming into the back half of 2025 or 2024, I should say, and going into 25 of just like, I think that's a really empowering moment as a leader when you realize your team doesn't need you to do the work every day. Right. And like, they need you to help grow and drive them forward, but like they could continue to do the same thing over and over again until the end of time. And knowing that is empowering. Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
So that would be my highlight.
Jim,
so
you go first.
So advice, right? That's the question.
Yeah. Advice or inspiration? You can pick one of the 20 business books you've read this year.
That's fair. I can't think of a quote right now from one of those many business books, but for me, I think it's just understanding that it's a marathon, and it's less about working towards a specific goal as much as kind of loving the process of what you're doing, right? And I think our mentors that we have, I think it was a year or two ago, checked in, was like, "Do you guys still like doing this?" Like, hey, sure. And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm most excited when I walk into the office, partially because I'm like alone in a room, which is nice when you have 2 little kids, but also it's just like you need to, for any organization to be successful, you need to love the building of it, right? It's not about the destination, it's about the climb. Yes, I'm quoting Miley Cyrus, but you
should.
That's one of my favorite songs. So there's always going to be another mountain, but you just have to just about the climb.
Okay. Well, Dave, on those wise words from Miley Cyrus, what do you got for us?
I actually don't know who Miley Cyrus is. I've only heard of Hannah Montana.
I mean, they're the same person, but different.
No, you can't tell me they're the same person. One goes to school, one's an international pop star.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so you know who Miley Cyrus is. You're messing with us. Continue forward.
So, just the classics. Money never sleeps. more money, more problems.
Clear as
Like the
good.
really big ones. No. Um, I've said this. I don't think it's new. I know this is one I always trot out, but I think it's important, and I think, I don't want to say it's important this time, but in business takes time and money,
Mhm.
and you have to be very fortunate to be able to have it. Right? It's very difficult to do it if you don't have financial stability and kind of support system. And I think me and Jim are both very fortunate we had that. And I think there's a lot of great ideas out there that maybe can't come to fruition because they don't have the ability to take that risk.
Mhm.
Um, and if you do take that risk and it's not working, it's tough to say this, but try not to give up for as long as possible. Try and stretch it out because good ideas sometimes take a little time to polish out and to really come out. I mean,
Yep.
Mhm.
the first 3-4 years were, a turd for us, right? We
Yep.
were scraping by and just trying to barely make it. We
Mhm.
really didn't see the big growth until 5 years in or something.
And even with SettleWise, it's kind of moving like 5 times as fast as LodeStar did, but it's just as painful. You're still going through all of
Mhm.
making a mistake, figuring it out, trying something again, making a new mistake, learning and growing
Mhm.
that way. You're just able to move a little bit faster.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time and for coming on every year. I appreciate it. I know Dave loves the podcast more than he loves any other part of his job. Um, where else can you wear an ugly sweater for people to see?
I wear ugly sweaters every day.
Well, thank you guys so much. And thank you all for watching. And we will see you. We are off next week. And we're going to be off the 2nd, but we will be back the week after with a podcast. So, thank you all so much for watching. We very much appreciate it. And Happy New Year.
Thanks, everyone. Happy New Year.
Bye.